Look, here's what drives me crazy. I've been awake for about 19 years. I've been on air for 17. I've been reading the globalist documents that are public. They think you're stupid, so they just admit their whole plan. It is beyond wicked. It is so massive and calculated and diabolical, and it manipulates and controls through corruption, through the unlimited currency and credit that the globalists can create, all of it fiat, counterfeit garbage. It is an empire run by larcenous con men, waging war against reality and against independence. Because they're criminals. They want you living on their global plantation. They want neo-serfdom. And there's just a lot of examples of this and a lot of different areas to this. But I remember growing up, but now every time I catch cartoons on television, whether it's stuff like Captain Planet, you name it, it's always the UN that defeats the aliens that are invading. It's always the global government on Star Trek. It's always the UN that are the good guys, and the evil Texan is the bad guys in a new ABC News show they've got that they're developing called Founding Fathers, where the bad guys are evil gun-owning veterans and Texans. And you turn on television and you see these messages. Miss America praises the UN. You got to win. All the toys. I've shown this over and over again. I've gone to the toy store and shown it and done reports, say UN peacekeeper, global peacekeeper. We're all just being prepared. Obama became the first sitting president to be the head of the UN Security Council. Violates Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. And it's everywhere. We're sold this idea that the UN is going to be our savior, when really it was set up by the globalists to take over our sovereignty. And so there's all this conditioning. I remember learning 15 years ago from ROTC students, people that are training to be military officers in college in San Antonio, that they were training to take on militias in their ROTC drills when they would go out in the woods and things. They weren't training to fight Al-Qaeda. They weren't training to fight the Ruskies or the Chi-Coms. They were training to fight conservatives and libertarians. Well, now I've got the reports right here. We're going to cover them later. It's big national news. The Army is training to take on the Tea Party. Well, yeah, I mean, I went to urban warfare drills 13 years ago. It's in my film Police State 2000. And there is the military, the Marines, with foreign troops, with role players, and they let me videotape it. And the role players are, where are you from? I'm from San Francisco. Where'd you get the gun? At a gun shop. And then you saw the troops taking guns in Katrina, going into high and dry areas, people in their own homes with their own generators and taking them. This is the mission. Everywhere the globalists get control, they take the guns. This is happening. And now the trendies are like, I want the UN to run things, Alex. Really? You know what the UN does worldwide? The trail of death and enslavement and child kidnapping that happens and sex slavery in the wake of these scum? I make it my business to study this 24/7. And they're taking over. Global government is taking place right now. It's admitted. In our new magazine, InfoWars Magazine, we've got a big article in here. It's one of the cover stories. Bankers declare that they've captured America. And they admit they've engineered the economic collapse. That's what's so frustrating, is they brag about all this. They think it's funny. They think you're idiots. They think you're morons. I'm going to go to your calls. I was trying to find that article. It goes over the whole thing. It's hard to be an awake person and have the globalists rubbing our face on it and then watching the general public poisoned on fluoride and aspartame and MSG running around foaming at the mouth. I mean, it's hard to watch cancer rates 10,000+% in children, diabetes up 3,000+% type 2, general cancer up over 2,000%. I mean, they're killing us. And then to have the documents where they designed it all and to know that I see these fathers with their children who are all triathletes and Mr. Tough Guy, or, you know, who are really good at business, but they're like, oh, I'm not getting into government corruption. That's not how you get ahead. There's no future because none of you will do anything about this. You just want to go play golf and act cool. and act manly. And so we have no future because you won't face it when it's in your face. But there are people like that county judge in Lubbock that knows what's going on, are starting to figure it out. And so our only hope is as things get worse and worse, I wish they wouldn't get worse, but as they get worse, people are going to remember what we told them. Let's go to Alexander in Texas. You're on the air, Alexander. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Alex, great show this afternoon. You know, those guys might have been great triathletes or very smart people, but could they hula hoop? That's the big question, I guess, to ask.
Yes.
I do have one to knock your socks off here today. And I literally fell out of my chair this afternoon at the bottom of the first hour of your transmission. The local affiliate, KOBJ in Austin, when they went to local news, they covered a story on West Nile. And I was listening to halfway listening to the story as they were talking through it. Well, they start talking about how before the horse vaccine was brought in, they had, I think it was 17,000 cases last year or the year before of West Nile in horses. And then they said once the vaccine was introduced, whenever it was last year or the year before, those cases dropped to 14 total. And then I said, well, okay, no big deal, whatever.
But it's like an advertisement for vaccines, yeah.
Well, the story ends off with this, and this is what really knocked me out of my chair. It said research on, and the price of the vaccine was around $25. And they had a rancher on there interviewing. And then at the very, very tail end of the story, they say research on the human version of the vaccine was halted due to low profit margins. I said, what?
Amazing. It's just amazing. You know what's crazy? A lot of these animal vaccines actually work because they're not designed to kill the animals. I mean, take veterinary medicine. They're there to get the animal well as quickly as possible. That's why it's all nutritional based. When we're dealing with herd medicine, not pet medicine, that's all big scam where they charge you 5-10 times what they should. Some of the wealthiest local people out there are that I know are veterinarians that charge 10 times what they should. But people in herd medicine, where I've worked for a large animal vet off and on over a 3-year period on the summers, then one time for part of a year. It's all about just getting them well as quickly as possible. Thank you so much. Good to hear from you, Alexander. Let's talk to John in Denver. John, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Alex, it's an honor to speak with you.
Honor to talk to you.
As a man of faith, I actually think of you as a prophet. But that's not the reason I'm calling. The reason I'm calling is because I am from Chesterfield, Virginia. And I was scooped up as a veteran for cleaning a gun on my back porch. And the SWAT team of Chesterfield County came down on me. By the way, the Chesterfield County Police Department is probably as corrupt as the New York Police Department.
All right, let me stop you right there. We're going to break. I'm going to come back and recap this. We have the case that made AP, Reuters, Fox News, you name it, that pretty much broke on this show. He is one of our listeners. We've had his lawyer on. He is going to be on next week. He's Brandon Robb, Marine Corps Sergeant, honorably discharged, no criminal record, no psych record. He said he didn't like Obama, so the Chesterfield Police Department came and arrested him, said they were going to commit him for life, basically, over his comments. But we're going to break that down. They're arresting veterans everywhere. Last Thursday, a Marine Corps veteran who was there in a county of Virginia was basically kidnapped extrajudicially. They just came and grabbed him at his house, took him to a mental institution, and said, we're going to take your guns and your freedom's over for criticizing the president. And we've played you clips from the news where they have police get on the news in Missouri and say, you will not criticize Obama or you will be arrested. That is lying about Obama to criticize him. If you're a new listener, I'm not kidding. I've played the clip 20 times. It's unbelievable. You can just type in Obama truth squads and you'll see the newscast online. They have them all over the country. And it shows these are authoritarians. You heard the school teacher tell the kids you can't criticize Obama or you'll be arrested. And the school reinstated her. They said, that's right. This is a good thing. I mean, that's who these people are. They're robbing everything. And they want control of the society. Now, we had a caller who called in and said he lived in the same county there in Virginia. And what's funny is I had the head of the Rutherford Institute, the lawyer of the Marine, I had him on Thursday and Friday, and he said he talked to the local newspaper in Chesterfield, who was shocked and said, John Whitehead, and he said the reporter was blown away because he found out in the last month, 20 people, a bunch of them veterans, had all been grabbed for no reason as well and thrown in the mental institution. And some of them disappeared. And folks, these are like veterans with no criminal record who never even had a file in the military. And now we've learned all over the country, in Pennsylvania, you name it, it's happening. I had a talk show host on Wednesday who's popular, a Christian talk show, who criticized and said the government's, collapsing things by design. We need to get ready. Well, that's what the cover of my new magazine says. Am I going to be arrested? They came, took him, locked him up for weeks until he agreed to sign an agreement that he was mentally ill. Sounds like North Korean prison or something, and would turn his guns in and never own one again. No judge, no jury. It's outside the system. And then this caller calls in and says, I was cleaning my gun on my porch. Folks, you clean your gun on your porch so that it doesn't get the house dirty. All over the nation, I'm a news hound, I have seen hundreds of reports in Massachusetts and places like that, where even in rural areas, a guy will skin a buck in his backyard and the neighbors call the police and they go to jail for disorderly conduct in an area that's on the edge of town that's been built up but still on the edge of town. People are getting arrested who live in counties where it's legal to shoot guns on their property. Their neighbors don't like it, cops come. But I see articles all the time. It's always the same. Man arrested for arsenal. And the state, I'll look it up, and it doesn't have an arsenal law. 11 guns and 1,000 rounds of ammo were taken from Korean War veteran, John Smith. And his guns were taken, and he's being charged. You wonder, what's he being charged with? And because the neighbors see them putting a rifle in their car to go to the range or cleaning a gun in their garage, it's always the same. Or the cable company repair person saw the cache of weapons. JT Coyote, who writes for Infowars.com. Real name something Travis. The point is, it was in the news. He was trying to sell his house. He had a reloading kit in his garage. The realtors thought it was bomb-making equipment, and he got SWAT teamed. So this is the new Stasi state we live in, okay? Where these weird jellyfish nobodies that literally couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag hate those of us that know how to use a gun, especially veterans. I mean, they hate you. That's why Homeland Security says you're the #1 enemy. You are the new Al-Qaeda, more dangerous than Al-Qaeda. You are what Homeland Security's for, because they know you're the only people that aren't in a jellyfish trance who won't go along with the world government. They hate you. You're the enemy. The whole thing's for you. I'm sorry I'm ranting. John in Denver, I'm going to hurry now. Go ahead and finish your point. We'll go to everybody else.
Thank you, Alex.
Tell folks what happened to you. Start over. Tell people.
Well, I was out on my back patio cleaning a gun, and a neighbor obviously saw me back there, called 911, and when the SWAT team came around the house, there must have been 20 or 30 of them, and my wife was actually sitting on my lap when they came around the house, and the gun was on the table, and they came in fully loaded and ready for bear, and I looked up and I said, what are you guys doing here? And the next thing I know, I had handcuffs on. I was told I wasn't being arrested, but I was carried off to one of the local police stations in Chesterfield County where I had to be psychologically evaluated. The whole time.
So it wasn't enough to, I mean, I would imagine as they're putting cuffs, you said, I was just cleaning my gun.
Yeah, well, the point was is that I get there and this psychiatrist comes in, and